Navira's iridescent feathers caught the harsh spotlight as she spread her wings in the crowded club aboard Nexus Station. Her species, the Arayan, were prized for their telepathic abilities and graceful aerial displays. Tonight, like every night for the past 3 years, she performed for the amusement of traders, smugglers, and station officials who filled their glasses with expensive liquors while her mind remained locked in a dampening collar. The music pulsed through the smoke-filled air as she twirled above their heads, her movements appearing voluntary to the untrained eye. Only the occasional flicker of pain across her delicate avian features revealed the truth each. Motion was controlled by the neural whip in her handler's hand. One wrong move, one rebellious thought leaked past the collar, and electricity would surge through her nervous system. Ethan Mercer sat at a corner table, his drink untouched. Unlike the other patrons, he wasn't here for entertainment. As a xenobiologist employed by the Galactic Research Institute, he had come to study adaptation patterns in non-terrestrial species. What he found instead was a practice that turned his stomach. Beautiful creature, isn't she? The voice belonged to a portly merchant seated beside him. They say, Arayans can read your deepest desires if you pay enough. Shame about the dampening collars, but necessary precautions. Ethan nodded non-committally, his eyes never leaving Navira. How long has she been performing here? That one? Perhaps 3 cycles. Won't last much longer, though. Rumors say Madame Vex is selling her collection soon. Telepaths require special handling, expensive maintenance. As the performance reached its finale, Navira hovered directly above Ethan. For a fleeting moment, their eyes met. Despite the collar, he felt something, a whisper of consciousness, brushing against his mind. Carrying not words but raw emotion, desperation, fear, resolve. The connection broke as abruptly as it formed when her handler yanked the control, sending her diving into an elaborate bow. The crowd applauded, while Navira trembled visibly from exhaustion. Later that night, Ethan lingered outside the service corridors, pretending to study his data tablet. When a maintenance worker emerged, he slipped inside, following the sound of soft, melodic humming sound unlike any human vocal pattern. He found her in a small holding chamber, wings bound by gravitational restraints. Up close, her feathers were dull, many broken or missing entirely. The once brilliant plumage now revealed patches of gray skin underneath. You shouldn't be here, human, she whispered, her voice musical despite her condition. They monitor these chambers. I know, Ethan replied, surprised she could speak his language. But I needed to see if I was really a slave. Her eyes, large and liquid silver, narrowed. What will you do with this confirmation? Write a research paper? Ethan shook his head. There's an auction tomorrow. I've seen the listings. Navira turned away. Then you know my fate is already decided. Maybe not, Ethan said, his voice dropping lower. I have credits saved. Research grants? You would waste your money on a dying Arayan? I would invest in your freedom, he corrected. If you want it, for the first time, flicker of hope crossed her face, before the sound of approaching guards forced Ethan to retreat into the shadows. The unexpected advocate, the auction house, operated beneath the official levels of Nexus Station, where station security conveniently overlooked the exchange of exotic assets for substantial bribes. Ethan arrived early, his credentials as a xenobiologist providing just enough legitimacy to avoid suspicion. He had emptied his accounts, converted everything to untraceable credit chips, and rehearsed his plan repeatedly. Madame Vex, a tall woman with artificial skin that shifted colors with her mood, presided over the proceedings. Her current blue-green complexion indicated satisfaction as various sentient beings were paraded before wealthy bidders. Next, an Arayan female, approximately 30 solar cycles, announced the auctioneer. Trained for entertainment, mild telepathic abilities, controlled by standard dampening technology. Bidding starts at 20,000 credits. Navira was led onto the platform, her wings bound tightly against her back. The spotlight emphasized her weakened state, yet she held her head high. Silver eyes scanning the crowd until they found Ethan. A reptilian trader raised a bidding paddle. 20,000. 25, countered a corporate representative. The bids escalated quickly. the price climbing beyond Ethan's initial budget. He waited, heart-pounding, until the bidding slowed at 48,000. 50,000, Ethan called out, his voice steadier than he felt. The room hushed momentarily. A human rarely bid on non-human companions, especially not researchers with modest salaries. Madame Vex's skin rippled with curious purple patterns. 52, the corporate bidder responded. 60,000, Ethan countered immediately, exceeding his limit. Silence fell again. The auctioneer looked to the corporate representative, who consulted a device before shaking his head. Sold to the human researcher, declared the auctioneer. Processing will begin immediately. Hours later, after paperwork granting him ownership and removing station restrictions, Ethan led Navira toward the docking bays. She followed silently, her dampening collar still in place. Why? She finally asked when they reached his small research vessel. Your kind doesn't typically concern themselves with other species' freedom. My kind is varied, Ethan replied, retrieving a specialized tool. Hold still.
Activate.
With careful precision, he deactivated the collar's locking mechanism. The device fell away, revealing raw skin underneath. Navira gasped as her telepathic sense flooded back. Overwhelming after years of suppression, her mind instinctively reached out. Touching Ethan's consciousness without restraint, he staggered from the intensity, but didn't resist, allowing her to see his genuine intentions, the disgust at her treatment, the determination to help, and underneath it all, a deep fascination with her species that bordered on admiration. I'm sorry, she whispered, withdrawing. I shouldn't have, it's all right, he assured her, regaining his balance. Can you sense anyone following us? Navira extended her awareness outward. Madame Vex suspects your motives. She's sending security to inspect your vessel before departure. Then we need to leave now, Ethan said, hastily preparing for launch. I've filed legitimate research permissions, but they won't hold up under serious scrutiny. As the ship's engines hummed to life, Navira carefully stretched her wings for the first time in years. I don't understand freedom anymore, she admitted softly. But I remember flight. The pursuit began 3 hours after their departure from Nexus Station. Ethan's research vessel, the Horizon, wasn't built for speed or combat, but its environmental systems were designed to accommodate diverse life forms, currently its most valuable feature. 2 ships on long-range scanners, Navira announced, her telepathic abilities serving better than any detection equipment. Bounty hunters, not station security. Ethan frowned at the navigation console. We can't outrun them. We'll need to hide. Where? She gestured toward the emptiness of space surrounding them. Not where, how. He adjusted their course toward a nearby nebula. Your people navigate by telepathic imprinting, sensing energy patterns rather than visual landmarks, correct? Navira nodded, impressed by his knowledge. Yes, but without a flock. ... You have me, Ethan said, extending his hand. I've studied our Aeon navigation techniques. Theoretically, if you connect with my mind while I pilot, it's dangerous, she interrupted. Without training, the mental strain could damage your brain, more dangerous than capture. He met her silver eyes steadily. They won't just take you back, Navira. They'll dissect me for interfering with their business. After a moment's hesitation, she placed her feathered hand atop his. The connection formed instantly, deeper than before. Ethan gasped as his perception expanded, seeing the nebula not as colorful gases but as currents of energy. Pathways hidden within cosmic static, guided by their merged consciousness. The Horizon plunged into the nebula, where conventional sensors became useless. The pursuing ships hesitated at the boundary, unwilling to risk navigation failure. Hours passed as they drifted deeper, their minds remaining connected out of necessity. Through this prolonged contact, memories flowed unbidden between them with his childhood on Earth's last nature preserve. His fascination with alien biology leading him to space, Navira's early life soaring through crystal forests with her flock, their capture by poachers. The years of separation and servitude, when they finally emerged from the nebula's far side, both were changed. The mental link had created understanding that transcended species barriers. Your people believe humans lack emotional depth, Navira observed, as they charted a course toward the frontier systems. They're wrong. Ethan smiled tiredly. And humans believe Aryans use telepathy only for survival. We're equally wrong. Their moment of connection was interrupted by warning alarms. The navigation system had been damaged by nebula radiation, and life support was failing. The nearest habitable location was an independent outpost called Haven's Edge, known for its neutrality and suspicion of outsiders. It might turn us in for the reward. Ethan worried. Navira's feathers ruffled with determination. Then we'll need to give them reason not to. As the horizon limped toward the outpost, Navira suddenly collapsed. Her breathing labored. Without proper nutrition and care during captivity, her body was beginning to fail now that the artificial stimulants from the collar were gone. Ethan gathered her into his arms, feeling the frightening lightness of her frame. "Hold on," he whispered, both aloud and through their lingering mental connection. "I didn't free you just to lose you," her response came faintly through the bond-knot words. But the sensation of gentle wings enfolding him in trust, sanctuary among strangers. Haven's Edge resembled a massive coral formation, buildings growing organically from a central spire. Originally a mining colony, it had evolved into a refuge for species seeking escape from various authorities. Neutrality was maintained through mutual necessity, rather than idealism. Ethan carried Navira's semi-conscious form through suspicious crowds, her wings concealed beneath a thermal blanket. He headed directly for the medical sector, identifiable by glowing blue symbols. The clinic operator, a four-armed humanoid named Dr. Rishal, assessed Navira with professional detachment. Arayan physiology is complex. Treatment will be expensive. Price doesn't matter, Ethan insisted. It always matters, Rishal countered. Especially when treatment includes silence about fugitives. Navira stirred, her telepathy weakly brushing the doctor's mind. Whatever she communicated caused Rishal's expression to soften. 3 days of treatment, the doctor decided. You'll work in the hydroponics section to pay for room and board. Ethan didn't hesitate. Agreed. Days blurred together as Ethan labored among dense vegetation, cultivating alien plants that provided both food and medicine for the outpost. Each evening, he returned to Navira's bedside, where her condition improved gradually under Rishal's care. On the third night, he found her awake, silver eyes bright with renewed strength. The locals are talking about us, she said without preamble. I know. He sat beside her, hands stained green from plant work. 2 bounty hunters docked yesterday. Dr. Rishal has been deflecting them, but it won't last. Her feathers trembled slightly. Why continue risking yourself? You've done enough. Instead of answering directly, Ethan reached for her hand, initiating the mental connection that had become familiar. Through it, he shared not words, but feelings concern. Yes, but also something deeper developing between them. Transcending both physical differences and cultural barriers, Navira's telepathic response was equally revealing, gratitude mingled with growing affection. Fear of loss, hope for possibilities neither had previously imagined. The intimate moment was interrupted when Rishal entered. Looking troubled. The bounty has doubled. Someone desperate wants you both. We'll leave immediately, Ethan began, but the doctor raised all 4 hands. Not yet. I've learned that Arian's condition is more complex than apparent. She needs specialized treatment regeneration chamber, calibrated for her species. Where would we find that? Ethan asked. The science vessel Artemis arrives tomorrow for supply exchange. Their xenobiology lab might have compatible equipment, Rishal hesitated, but accessing it would require creative negotiation. That night, as Navira slept, Ethan made preparations. He cataloged his remaining research data observations that could interest the Artemis scientists enough to grant them passage and access to medical facilities. What he didn't tell her was the cost. He would need to trade his career, his years of research, perhaps even his Earth citizenship. For a xenobiologist to free and aid a research subject violated numerous regulations. As dawn approached, he watched Navira's sleeping form, her wings beginning to regain their iridescent sheen. The decision, he realized, had already been made the moment their minds first connected. Beyond boundaries, The science vessel Artemis dwarfed the horizon, its sleek design emphasizing function over aesthetics. After tense negotiations, Chief Researcher Vanda had agreed to provide medical access in exchange for Ethan's complete research archive and assistance with ongoing xenobiology projects. Navira's treatment proceeded rapidly with proper equipment. Within the regeneration chamber, her damaged tissues healed, feathers regrew, and strength returned. Meanwhile, Ethan worked alongside Artemis's scientists, careful to maintain the pretense that Navira was a research subject rather than a companion. 3 weeks into their journey toward the Artemis's next destination, Vanda summoned them both to the observation deck. Through the vast viewport, a distant star system glimmered, unfamiliar to Ethan but causing Navira's feathers to shimmer with emotion. De Orion Nebula, Vanda explained. Home to scattered Arraean colonies since their homeworld's destruction. Our trajectory will pass within shuttle range in 2 days. The implication hung unspoken between them. Navira could return to her kind. You've fulfilled your contract admirably. Dr. Mercer, Vanda continued. The Institute is prepared to reinstate your credentials upon return to headquarters. The incident at Nexus has been ... reclassified. Later, alone in Ethan's quarters, the tension between them crystallized into words. Your career can be salvaged, Navira said softly, wings curling inward. Everything you worked for. At the cost of returning to studying life instead of living alongside it. Ethan approached her slowly, their customary mental link forming naturally. Unless you wish to return to your people, I would understand. Her telepathic response came with unexpected intimacy. Images of a future neither had dared imagine. 2 different species, building something new together. Neither fully in one world or another, physical barriers that once seemed insurmountable now presented creative challenges. As her wings enfolded him, their minds merged more deeply than before. The contact was both innocent and profound, a communion of spirits expressing through touch what biology made different. We'll face prejudice, Ethan whispered against her feathers. From both our kinds, we already have, she reminded him, her telepathy sharing memories of their journey, and survived. Morning found them watching twin suns rise over an uncharted planet from the shuttle bay viewport. Behind them, the Artemis prepared to continue its scientific mission. Ahead lay the small research outpost where they had negotiated placement, a neutral facility studying interspecies communication. Last chance to choose a conventional path, Ethan said, though his mind conveyed certainty rather than doubt. Navira's silver eyes reflected starlight as she initiated their neural connection one more time, sharing not just thoughts, but a vision of all they could discover together. Conventional paths, she murmured, her wings brushing his shoulders as they boarded their shuttle, are for those who cannot imagine flying.